Yo, what's going on guys, HyperX here and welcome back to another Monster Hunter Double Cross video. Yes, that's right, a Monster Hunter video. I do apologise that there haven't been any for the past few weeks. I've just been taking a short break from the game on the run up to Double Cross, but now that the demo's gone live, then videos are going to be back in full force. Rest assured, Monster Hunter has always been and will always be an integral part of this channel. It's a series that I hold dear to my heart, so it's never going anywhere, so even if there is kind of a break at some point in the future, rest assured it'll always return. Anyway, as mentioned, the demo is now live on the Japanese eShop. It is only available in Japan right now. As it currently exists, there is no Western announce or date or even confirmation that Double Cross will be coming to the West, so right now it's a Japanese only game. But it's available on the eShop. I got a chance to go hands-on with it today, and in the demo, among all the kind of usual styles, you also got a chance to test out the new Brave style, the Alchemy style, the Beast Prowler, and also fight against Yankaku, a BARIOTH and a BARIOTH, two of the returning monsters. So lots of cool stuff, plenty of stuff that I've still got to check out, and of course over the coming days there'll be plenty of videos. In fact, I have some more in-depth videos that I'll be working on, think kind of weapon workshop style, but for Brave and Alchemy, to kind of show you guys the intricacies and the sort of changes for all the different weapons. But to begin with, I thought we'd just chat about my initial impressions. I streamed today for a couple of hours, had a chance to play with the sort of demo off stream as well to sort of test out some more weapons. So I thought, based on my very sort of initial impressions, just after a few hours of hands-on, I would just sort of share some of my findings with the sort of Brave style, with Alchemy style, some of the things that I think, and hopefully that'll sort of shed some light for you guys, and also just give you some insight into how I personally feel about them. So if you do enjoy this, then a like would be super appreciated. Comment down below, let me know if you guys have maybe had a chance to play it yourself, or you watched some streams, and just let me know what you think. Also, before I get started, I am giving away a few Monster Hunter Generations European codes thanks to Capcom UK. I do apologise if you're outside of Europe. This won't be applicable for you. I will try and sort out some giveaways for you guys in the States later on. But for the time being, Capcom UK very kindly gave me 5 Monster Hunter Generations codes to give away. So in the description box down below is a link to a giveaway. Click that link, click on the buttons to enter, and then on Sunday I will announce the winner and then email you your codes. So check that out if you want a chance to win, check out the game, but let's now turn our attention to the demo. So, first up, let's talk Brave style. This is something that I have been super looking forward to ever since seeing it kind of, announced and shown off in the demos. This is the new hyper-aggressive style that effectively rewards that style of play. It is definitely, when compared to all the other styles, the most difficult one to use. This is one for kind of the pro players out there. I wouldn't necessarily say that as a means to sort of scare away newer players, but what I will say is, if you don't have good knowledge of the game, if you don't have good knowledge of kind of the combat systems and like the, move intricacies and whatnot, then you will struggle with this style. As a super quick recap, Brave is basically a style whereby when you attack, you build up this meter, and if you press Y, which is normally your button to sheath, you actually go into this Brave stance. If you're hit during this, you'll of course perform an evade, so similar to Bushido in that respect, only a little bit easier. However, some of your moves are hidden behind this Brave stance. So take Greatsword for example. You can't perform a level 3 charge or any charge at all unless you go through this stance. But if you do go through this stance, then those attacks will give you more Brave gauge, and then once you max your meter out, you then go into Brave mode, and in this you get access to some different moves. So again, using Greatsword as an example, when you're in Brave stance, if you go from sheath, you then perform an insanely fast level 3 charge that is powerful. Alternatively, if you have your weapon drawn and you go into a charge, it's again faster, but goes straight into the strong charge, the blue charge. So of course you have a couple of different options there. Sword and Shield has access to a rather fancy acrobatic move. Looks really cool, probably not going to be that practical to be honest, and necessarily good on damage. Or Switch Axe for example. Switch Axe is insane. When you're in this Brave meter, you can effectively freely swap between Switch and Axe at the press of a button, so you can chain together some pretty epic combos. But, dialing back to Brave for a second, the sort of penalties for this is that when you're charging Brave stance, i.e. you're holding in that sort of half sheath stance, you're losing stamina and you are also losing health. Plus, while it does afford you an evade similar to that of Bushido, the timing is a little bit tighter than before, so it's one of those things where if you don't know how to use it or you use it at the wrong time, you are going to heavily get punished. And also because of the way that some of your moves are hidden behind this Brave stance, it also elongates your combos. So take something like Greatsword. Today I was actually trying to fight against BARIOTH and I was getting my ass handed to me to begin with. We kind of came back in the end and defeated it, but the point is, because in order to kind of get these hits off and in order to kind of build your gauge, you need to go through this stance, it effectively adds extra time to your combo. So if you're fighting something that moves fast and you're using a slower moving weapon, it's going to take some adjusting to get used to, it's going to take some clever positioning, and it's definitely not something you can sort of sneak in quite so quickly. So I suppose in that respect, Brave Gauge or kind of Brave Style could be made sort of comparable to Insect Glaive in that it has sort of a startup cost because Insect Glaive, if you really want to make the most of it, you have to go around and gather your jellies, as I like to call them, and when you don't have them, then you have a lesser version of the weapon. So similar with Brave, when you're not in Brave stance, you're of course lacking some of your combos, you're lacking some of your damage potential, and depending on the weapon, depending on your kind of combo potential, sometimes getting into Brave can take a little bit of time. But once you start to get your head around it, it's actually not too bad, because what you'll notice is you can actually buffer your inputs. You don't necessarily have to say, let's take Sword and Shield. You can begin a regular combo, say XX and going into A, and then during this you can press X, and then press the button you would like to press after that, and then following that you can then press Y to go into the Brave stance, and then press the button that would follow that, and you can effectively line up or buffer that move, similar to sort of how you would like buffer moves in Street Fighter. So when you get that down, it actually takes some of the sort of clunky feeling of Brave style and starts to smooth it out a little bit. It's definitely going to take a lot of getting used to, there is no disputing that, because at first it will feel so weird, so weird. If you're used to kind of like fluid combos, you're used to the way you've been playing before, this is effectively a kind of weird stopper in the middle of your combos. But again, once you get used to it, then it's great, because when you're in Brave mode, it feels incredible. Some of them are just hilarious. There are still some more weapons that I do need to spend some more time with, but Brave Greatsword, really good. Brave Switch Axe, really good. Brave Longsword, I've heard mixed opinions on it. I quite like it, because it basically gives you a blue sort of demon gauge, and you get like a fancy combo, and the first or second hit of this can also be a counter, if you time it right, but it can also be a little bit hit and miss from time to time. I've heard good things about Heavy Bowgun, because of course Siege is behind the Brave mode, as is Bow, but there's still some more things I need to spend some serious time with. So that's a bit on Brave. Again, very good, very powerful, has great potential, will take some getting used to, and also do bear in mind that Monster Hunter Double Cross has G rank, so when you go into G rank, if you mess anything up, a few hits from a G rank monster will heavily punish you, so while in something like high rank monsters is not necessarily so bad, you can take a few hits and still get away with it, if you mess up Brave mode, Brave style, in G rank, you are going to get punished, or just caught. Anyway, speaking about Alchemy, this is of course the kind of joker of the pack, but it is actually pretty cool. Again, much like other styles, there will be some variations to your combos, so some of your moves that you might have previously had won't necessarily be accessible either initially or at all. But the main thing with this is kind of like with Prowlers, when you fight or you get hit in combat, you build up this little gauge, and it has 5 different notches in it, level 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. You then, in your item bag, it doesn't take up inventory space, but it's in your item bag, you have a barrel, and then when you have different notches on this bar, you can then shake your barrel a number of times equal to those gauges. And depending on the times you shake it, you get access to different items. Each shake has 2 potential items you can choose from, and of course the higher you go, the better the item. Some of those include sort of team-wide buffs, things like heals or, buffs to the speed at which you generate your hunter arts. Other things are a little bit crazier, like, an ability to effectively fire a rocket from your barrel. So there are some really cool things here. It definitely has some interesting potential, because the other cool thing to bear in mind is that Alchemy style is similar to Striker style in that you can have 3 hunter arts equipped. And one of the other new things they've introduced is this notion of SP mode. You can, with any style, designate one of your hunter arts as an SP art. So when you use this, it'll then give your team a buff depending on the style you're in. So, guild style will be one buff, aero style will be another. I don't have the list off the top of my head right now, but I have done a video on that in the past if you want to know the details. But Alchemy style can have 3 hunter arts, and every single one of them can be an SP art too. So it really can be a very strong support set. You have a barrel where you basically have items that you can kind of draw from to support your team, plus you have the ability to have 3 hunter arts, 3 SP arts, so lots of things you can offer. I do still feel at this moment in time that I personally wouldn't use it too heavily, because the barrel shaking for me feels a little bit like a gimmick. It will definitely have its uses, and I feel like there are going to be some insane speedruns using the barrel, but right now I don't necessarily feel like it flows very naturally into combos, to the point where I could probably just see myself playing the hunt normally and then forgetting about my barrel and be like, oh crap, I forgot to use those items. So yeah, it's still interesting, it's still fun, there's still some great potential with it, but it's something that I think, for the time being, I'm not necessarily going to use too much. So those are some initial impressions based on my very early hands-on. Bear in mind, I've only had a few hours with this. I will be spending a lot more time with this over the coming days, and I will of course then probably revisit this at some point, maybe have a good discussion with you guys, or just sort of factor that into my slightly more in-depth videos. But for the time being, that was a quick look at some gameplay, some quick impressions, so hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Also, as a second note, if you guys want to see a complete hunt against BARIOTH, of course one of the returning monsters, where I was using Brave Sword and Shield, then I've actually uploaded that to my second channel. My second channel is a place where I upload those different things. I vlog quite a lot on there, so if you guys are interested in anything like that, do check it out, do subscribe. But I've linked that down below if you want to see a complete BARIOTH hunt. It took about 15 minutes because I was doing some of the flashy stuff with the Sword and Shield, which looks cool, but probably isn't actually as efficient for DPS. But either way, that is linked down below, so do check that out. But for the time being, that's it. Check back tomorrow because I'll be uploading a complete Beast Prowler hunt. So if you guys want a sort of look at how that works, that's of course one of the new Prowler types, that'll be on the channel tomorrow. Thanks for watching, take it easy, catch you next time, peace out.